Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. This is episode 201. I'm Mike Bonlin, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is Blaine Birch, the co-founder and CEO of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. What's up, man?
Oh, man. It's the middle of summer, and you can just tell. It's like, it feels like the world started to grind to a little bit of a halt the last week. It'll be like this for about 2 more weeks, and then we'll be sprinting until December 15th. So yeah. I don't mind it. A tiny bit slower. Even before the show, we were sitting there chatting and kind of talking about just stuff that, what we could be working on over the summer, because we actually have time to do some stuff. So that's kind of exciting, actually.
Yeah. What's interesting, I don't know if you connected this, but when we first started, we started it in like July, right?
Yeah.
We at like the half year mark. It was weird that the 200th, it was like in July.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess we've been pretty close to once a week, and it's like probably 50 weeks. I don't know if we managed the other 2 in there every year, but yeah, it is really actually pretty close. So that's, we've been consistent, man.
That it just amazes me, right? So this is season 5 because we had the half season. Now, if you're watching, like, on how they call it season 5, well, it's because we start the seasons actually now on January 1st. Yeah. Like, that's because we're not smart enough to figure out. Well, because we're not smart enough to figure out. There's a random date in there that we actually started. And we're not cool enough to be like Yellowstone, where we can do like 8 seasons and then do or 8 episodes a season.
That's what's really messy right now. TV's like, a 2-year-old show, they're in season 7. Whatever. Like, if they can say that, we could probably say we're in season 12 and people would believe us.
Yeah. But I like that we're on the year mark now. So it makes sense, but we had to have that first weird half year. So if we say season 5, this is actually like 4.5 years.
Well, except I think we started in July.
That would be the half year. That would be the first year. Would be half year. We're calling it season year. Yeah. So 4.5 years.
July. No, but it's July. We're season 4.5. We're 5 calendar years. I don't know. Or are we 4 calendar years? When did we start this? 2020?
It was COVID, probably, right? COVID. So
I think it was COVID. Yeah.
So really weird. If you're like going, what the hell's going on in this thing? Why did I tune in? This is Mike and Blaine, Business, Beer, and BS, where we talk a fair amount of business, drink a little bit of beer, and sprinkle in some BS, right? So that's kind of what you're getting right now, is a little bit of the BS. And I got to tell you, here's the thing about this episode. I was in a meeting, and I don't know how many buzzwords I heard, but it started to piss me off. So I'm going, why can't you talk normal? We don't talk like that. Normally, why do we have to have buzzwords like synergy and bullshit like that? Nobody talks like that when it's just me and you. So I wanted to go back and figure out why people do that.
Let's do it. And I'm on the same page with you. That stuff kind of drives me nuts. And I remember, like, man, this is over 15, 20 years ago. And an old colleague of mine, we went into a meeting, and I don't know how it came up, but someone said something about, do you have some challenges or something? He said, I don't know. We don't have challenges. We got problems. Like, yeah, there we go. That's like no bullshit here. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's why we have to get into this, because I feel like you're not a real person when you're saying these things. I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, no, it does. I think it hurts trust. Yeah. Trustability, credibility, all of that. I think it goes down when you're not speaking like a real person. Yeah, we're going to dive into this. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be an interesting topic today. But before we do that, we always got to thank our beer sponsors. We have 6. Oh, is Devin? Devin might be done this week, actually, or last week. So,
all right, Devin's out.
Okay, I was going to say, let's give a free one to Devin.
All right. Devin, last one. All right, Devin. Hey,
Okay, well, Dev, we're going to do a freebie for you.
listen, this Thursday is the last Thursday of the year without football. All right. So if I want you to get focused, I want you to think LSU. I want you to think about how LSU can't win the national championship because Baylor is on at the roll. They are hyped up. They are got returning, starters. I know you beat us in the bowl last year, right? Remember they had the bowl, LSU versus Baylor. We got beat by LSU. Not this year, my man. Not this year. If you run across Baylor's path, it's over for you. It is a sick and bears type of year. Thanks, Devin.
I'm going to take this over here. Devin, ignore what Mike said. We greatly appreciate you. We greatly appreciate LSU, and we would greatly appreciate you being a beer sponsor here a little longer. So after what Mike said, you probably won't want to be a beer sponsor again. But please come back and sponsor us again. So again, Devin, biggest LSU fan, and Mike likes a team called Baylor, I guess. So
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, remember when you told me about your favorite Texas song and it was making fun of Baylor? Oh yeah. What?
It was a funny song. It was a great song. And then you look so down after, and I'm like, oh, what did I do? And then it turned out you're a Baylor fan, which I did not know, but the song made fun of Baylor. So yeah, that was still a fun song though.
All right. So we got neighbor Pat. Now, he didn't think I would give him credit. All right. He beat me in cornhole this past weekend, but
Congrats, Pat. Nice.
But I'll give him that. But it was in 3-man cornhole, right? So 3-man cornhole, and it's like his son-in-law was playing with us, and I'm like, I think that guy's playing against me. He's trying to make me lose. So I don't know. Head on head, he still can't beat me, but he did beat me twice, and he was on fire. This guy. Every time he threw, it was in the hole. And I've made so much fun of him about not being able to make it in the hole in the game. Not this weekend. This guy, it was like, I think he made 4 out of 4 in one toss, right? Like meaning one turn between us. I think 4 of them went in the hole. You cannot beat a guy when he's that on fire. So Pat was on fire. Thanks, Pat.
Well, and neighbor Pat, I think he was also on fire because last week, Pat was a guest on a show we never have guests, but it was episode 200. Pat came on talking about some beer that he made and the plans potentially to start selling beer and stuff. It was a really fun episode. If you haven't caught it, check it out. But also, you kind of busted his chops a few times on the show, so I wouldn't be surprised that he came out with a little bit of a bone to pick after that.
I got to spur him on. I got to motivate people.
I guess that's the other thing. You motivate them. But okay, so anyway, we got to go. We got a whole bunch to get through here. So Rachel Barnett from Gentle Frog, beer sponsor, longtime beer sponsor, also a sponsor all the way through to the end of 2025. And if you own a business, you need to know how to use QuickBooks. And if you need to know how to use QuickBooks, you got to go check out Gentle Frog. So it's gentlefrog.com. But actually, the best place to go is their YouTube channel at Gentle Frog, and you can see a billion videos on how to use QBO. So thanks again, Rachel. Really appreciate the support. Love to have you sponsoring us every episode here.
Yeah, and another year-long beer sponsor is Karen Hairston up at 3S Smart Consulting in Michigan. And I'm telling you what, I am 1 month away from seeing her and meeting her in person. We're both going to be in Orlando. If you're an SBDC advisor out there just checking this out, go to her seminar. Go listen to what she's saying during her, her breakout session, because I want you to see how smart she is and how she can put cash back in people's business. And if you're a business owner that just wants help, go check her out at 3S Smart Consulting.
And Larry Weinstein also through to the end of 2025. And if you need a CPA, you need an accountant, you got to go talk with Larry. Larry Weinstein, the cash flow cowboy out of Houston, Texas. Thanks again, Larry. We always appreciate the support.
Yep. And then my marketing guy, right? My marketing guy, if you need marketing help, because he helps me, Jeff Robertson over at rabising.com. Go check him out, because if you like what I do on cashflowmike.com, if you like the emails you get, if you like the webinars he puts on, the social media posts, that's the guy doing the work. You can have it as part of your company as well. Go check him out, rabison.com, Jeff Robertson.
Yeah. Check the show notes. You'll see it.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Rabison's like Rabason. Rabison. I don't know why he does that. Maybe it's easier than Robertson.
Check the show notes. You'll see.
Yeah.
You can just click and head right over. And what beer are you drinking? We usually talk about the beer.
Oh, I found a cool one, right? It's like out of Shreveport, Louisiana, and I never run across Louisiana beer up here in Texas. I just never do, which is weird because we're right next door. But it's called Great Raft Brewing. Great Raft. And check this out. It's called Reasonably Corrupt. And it was the can that drew me. It's a black lager. It's only about 5.5, but check that out. Look, there's a snake on the guy's hand. Reasonably Corrupt, right? And it's just old timey all the way around. It looks like something you would see in the show Deadwood.
Right? Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's fantastic. I love the artwork on it. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it. What are you drinking?
Well, I went back to the Establishment again out of Calgary. It's a terrific brewery, so I do usually have a few in the fridge. But the topic today, we're talking about, circle back on this episode, and it's all about business phrases. Where do they come from? And how annoyed Mike is by them. And so I found one that actually had dream your life away. And I just thought, it's kind of a fun little phrase.
There you go.
And it's a hazy IPA from the Establishment. Terrific brewery. And actually, this is a really good beer. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's going down a little too quick. I'm going to be through my beer before we barely get started on the episode here. But good job, you guys.
Yeah, so the title, right? The title, Circle Back. Have you ever used it? You probably used it. Yes. Hey, let's circle back on that.
But I don't, it's funny because I do it in writing sometimes, like in emails and things. I never say it, like ever. I don't think I've ever said that word in my life. But when you're following up with people and stuff, it's like, there's only so many freaking ways to say something. And I know I get into some of those phrases a lot of times when I'm writing, because it's like, I feel like I have a lack of, I don't know, imagination when I'm doing follow-up emails.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the one that got me to go, I'm so tired of that one. It feels like it's this cliche. It feels like it's old. It feels like it's overused. I feel like I'm being manipulated. It's all these things.
Better take it out of my repertoire then, I guess.
Well, I think it's just me, right? Because it actually isn't that bad. Let's circle back. Let's do that. There's other ones that actually make me madder, or more. Well, they put me on edge more. This one, though, that was the one that made me go research the topic. And if you're listening to the show, I mean, the topics come up like 10 minutes before the show, and it's usually something that happened, and this happened, right? It was like, hey, can we circle back? I'm like, why do we say things like circle back? And I'm like, where did that even come from? Now, we all commonly know it as, hey, let me catch back up with you. Let me, take it out of this thread, out of this current, path we're on. And then I'm going to go back, probably pick up some more information, and then come back to you. Is that how you understand it?
Yes, in that context. That's not actually how I use it. I know I've used it a few times in email, but what I'll do in email is just say, hey, I'm just circling back to see if this is a good time to chat or whatever. So it's a different context that I tend to use it. So, all
right. So what's your intention? What are you trying to say? If you're not saying, say it differently. How about that?
Well, no, I'm just, I don't even like, I guess that's sort of the problem, but it's just like, hey, I'm just touching base. Like, I guess that would be another one. Touching base is another one. Like I'm just, poking you, reminder. You told me to come back and remind you.
But those are two of the ones, right? That's another one that's kind of on my list. That's another one, like touching base. Why we say that, right? Touching base. Well, when I actually looked up circle back, touching base came up. It's like, well, circling back is like an old aviation term when, they would go past the tower and they'd have to something or whatever. They're checking out, testing or whatever this is on their plane. They have to circle back so somebody in the tower or somebody below can see what's happening. Right. So it's like an aviation term about circling back because, well, in an airplane, you're not just turning around like, hey, you're going to have to circle back. So it's an aviation term. Well, there's another aviation term that I ran across while I was talking about that, and it's called by the seat of your pants. right? You ever heard of that? Like we're flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Well,
we have customers that have been flying by the seat of their pants for years. So
there you go.
I know exactly how that works. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, okay, well, what is that one? Well, flying by the seat of your pants is when people were flying and they didn't have the instrumentation, or it went out, or there was something that happened. This is early aviation, that the pilots would try to navigate by the vibration in the seat, right? It's like going of how things felt, because there was no instruments to tell you about turbulence or, about altitude. I mean, just all this other, whatever hell goes on. I'm not a pilot. So, but they're flying by the seat of their pants because they can feel it in the seat as they fly. Right. So it's kind of a cool thing. But back to touch and base is an old baseball term. Right. Because in the early 1900s, in baseball, they'd say, hey, listen, you got to touch the bases, meaning that you couldn't advance until you touched a base. You couldn't go to second if you were on first and third. I mean, you had to touch a base. So touching bases was, I couldn't progress this conversation. I couldn't move it forward until I touched base, right? It isn't just reaching out and poking you. It's like going, no, I got to touch base before I can progress the conversation forward.
Yeah, but like I know the reason that these phrases are used is because it sounds familiar. It sounds like you're a real person. And I think sometimes if you don't use language like that, it comes off sounding formal. And the reason I know this is because I've been CC'd on emails that have gone to some of our customers and that overseas. And sometimes there'll be something like that in there and I'll pick it up right away and go, I wonder if they even know what that means, because it's a North American lingo. Right. And sometimes we'll get, emails from overseas, and it's funny when it sometimes has something that like, I've never heard that before in my life, but I get where they're going with it. Like I understand, I can get it. I kind of figure it out. But it does feel a little bit more collegial. Like it doesn't feel formal, which especially in written, like in text, can come over sounding harsh, I think. And that's, I think, why I default to some of these more when I'm writing than when I'm talking. Like I said, I don't think I've ever talked with someone and said, touching base, circling back. I don't remember ever saying that. But when you're writing, you're trying to go, I'm a real person. I want to be relatable somehow.
All right. So with that being relatable, is it still relatable if it's overused? And I think AI does the same thing now. You reuses some of these collegial type of things. So I don't know if it's real or not, and I don't like it anyway. I'm not a fan of jargon. Right? Like financial jargon. I just taught at the graduate school banking at Colorado. And when I'm talking to, we'll say bankers or accountants, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to, they'll use words like liquidity or solvency. I say, hey, what does that mean? And then you get a blank stare like, well, you should know. I'm like, going, well, yeah, of course I know, but do you know? and man, I did it in front of 2 classes. We're talking 100+ bankers. I said, just describe liquidity to me, the business owner that runs a great restaurant or runs an auto body shop, and you're telling me I need to worry about liquidity. Tell me what I got to do.
For a restaurant owner, it's probably clean your beer lines. Just get a little liquidity going.
Yeah, but most people don't know. I had bankers say, oh, that's how much cash you have. I said, nope. That's how much cash you have. Liquidity is how fast you can convert stuff to cash. How fast can I collect on my invoices? How fast can I sell my inventory? How fast can I sell my building to get cash? Yeah. Liquidity is all about the speed of cash. And the thing is, when you say liquidity and you don't understand what it means, then you're confusing me in the conversation. That's the same thing with some of these things that you said, like, you're misusing it. Yeah. If you misuse touching bases or, circling back, you're definitely going to misuse liquidity and solvency.
Yeah. Am I misusing it, or is it just a different context? Because I think I've heard it used both ways, right? I'm touching base. That's something that someone would say. Less touch base is a different. Well, it's basic. Like there, it kind of means the same thing, but it's a different context, right? The one that bugs me the most, though, are acronyms.
Okay.
And I know, like, you've gotten these. Like, I've gotten emails from people trying to sell me on their services, and I'm probably just not their market. But it's like, hey, man, do you have problems with your WBM7? Like, and it's all these acronyms, and they'll use 4 acronyms in the email, and I'm just like, I'm shutting down. It is deleted before I read the whole thing. I'm like, can you just speak like a human being, you know?
Dude, you were touching on another thing. Last week, again, I'm at the banking school. I'm not involved with all the regulations that change in banking. I just know what people should be talking about in small. I have a very small window of what I know about banking and small business stuff. So they use these things, these acronyms, or they'll say this regulation, that regulation, those type of things. I'm like, no idea. So what does it mean to you? So I don't know. But every day in class, I have to clarify because they'll use an acronym and they're talking to somebody that's not in the daily language.
Yep.
Right. So I don't know. I'm like, what does it mean to you? So I can kind of figure out the context they're trying to use it in.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, like, instead of just sitting there sticking to their knitting, and they got to start using some of these phrases. It's like sneaking a bad phrase.
That's
that
good.
Is a phrase.
Hey,
that
literally
is a phrase, right?
Everybody knows that one though, right? Because that's one of the secret words.
One of the secret words, yeah.
Hey, but the way I look at it, they get hung up in all this red tape in the bank. Oh, you see what I did there? Red tape is another one of those words, right? And we typically think it's like bureaucracy. It feels like it slows things down. There's a bunch of red tape. Well, am I going, what the hell's red tape? Well, back in, I think it was the 1700s or something like that, that's how the official letters from the government came, like from the king and all that, is that they would put a red ribbon around the official documents so you'd know. So it was red tape that, declared officialness of, what they were doing. Now it's evolved, and I can't figure out just yet how it evolved from red tape to being slow or bad or inefficient.
Yeah. Except that people know what that means, right? Like that's the thing, is sometimes these phrases, if you don't want to talk with someone and say the, inefficiency of the bureaucracy, it's just, it doesn't, it sounds tired and complicated and formal, right?
Yeah, but the origin was government related, which everybody, correlated to slow, bad, inefficient, because it just slows everything down for sometimes no reason.
Yeah.
So when probably people saw letters coming with this red ribbon around it, they go, "Oh, this is gonna fuck up our life for a second." Here's your letter.
I'm pretty sure you just did a little hang loose.
Oh, was that this?
With your hand there?
I think so.
I thought, hey, that's a phrase.
That's another one, right?
Actually, it's a motion saying "hang loose." I'm like, I don't know. I know it's a surfing term. I don't really know what it actually means on a surfboard, though.
Yeah, but that's a good one, right? That's an actual good, I think, terminology. I'm like, I can get with that. I wouldn't say that in email. I wouldn't say that in a meeting. Hey, just hang. I guess I have said that. Damn it, I've said that. Like, hey, y'all hang loose while I go check on this real quick. Damn it, I've even said that one. I probably said all these when it comes down to it. I mean, even like low hanging fruit. I say that too. And that's from way back when, like I'm talking about the 1600s. Low hanging fruit was it was the easiest to pick.
Yeah. Well, and I've said that too. I've said that to the team, like, and because there's times, but you know what, why it's effective is like, it tells a little story, and you can picture it and go, yeah, I get what you mean. Like it's just, it does a nice job of explaining something with a little bit of personality to it.
You know, the one I ran into not too long ago, you probably heard about it, was like think outside the box. You seen that one?
Seen it a million times, heard it, probably said it.
I definitely said. Matter of fact, anymore, I'm like going, I don't want people to think outside the box. Matter of fact, if you think too much outside the box, you lose people, and a confused mind never buys. Meaning they never buy into your idea. They never buy your product. And if I'm confused, I'm programmed to say no. I don't get it. No. So thinking outside the box is good. But when you describe your idea to somebody else, you have to put it in a box. Like, it's like this. That's why all these software that came out says, oh, it's like Carfax. That's what we did in the very first Finograph. I'm like, it's like a Carfax for your car or our business, right? In 2012. Why? Because it was so far outside the box what we were doing. Nobody had seen it before that you had to give it a box so people were like going, oh, I get it. Mm-hmm. But this thinking outside the box, I'm like going, where'd that come from? Right? Where did the box come from? And it was a 1960 psychology exam. You probably have seen it. It'll say like, there are 9 dots on a page, right? You've seen that? Like, you remember we used to play dots in school where you put your initial, I make a line, you make a line. And when you close the box, you put your initial in it. You remember that? It's called dots. No. All right. That's not the game anyway, but there's 9 dots on a page. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the test is touch all dots without lifting your pen. That was a psychology exam. And because it's shaped in a box, 333 square, most people try to do things in a square. Well, the only way to solve it is to actually go outside to get that last dot to go outside the box and do a loop around and come back and touch it. So, meaning don't think about the boundaries of the box that you see, think outside the box. That's where that came from. I understand
the test because it's just literally an S would connect all the dots with 9 dots.
I don't know. Maybe there's something else. There's something about it's not an S.
Probably something else.
Maybe it's not 9. Maybe it's something else. All right, so don't fucking listen to me. Yeah, but you have to you have to connect them all. That wouldn't be connecting them all. That's just a line.
Okay, I would have to do that on a without there's got to be some other rules in there. I think I'd have to see the rules, but I get the point though. There's some you have to do something that doesn't seem part of the rules, like you're outside of the rules, I guess.
So you know what? I'm going to look it up and post it on our Facebook page because, but that's where it came from. I don't know exactly how it works, and I probably couldn't solve it if you put it in front of me today, knowing I have to go outside the box. But that's where it came from. A
psychological test, which is very similar to our A/B test.
It was very similar to the A/B test, yeah. So, but apparently, the only way to solve this thing is actually to think outside the box. Meaning, they show you a box, the way they shape the dots, and the way you're supposed to connect the dots. I must be missing a rule somewhere, but the way way you're supposed to think about it is it takes you outside of the box to actually make the connection. And maybe it has to be like one continuous line. Well, because that's an S too, right? But maybe it's a connected line. I don't know. I don't know. So that was a dumb example.
That was probably a really good example once we know exactly how it works.
Yeah. Well, we should probably ask Chelsea. But anyway.
Well, but no. Well, okay, we'll throw it on the old Facebook page. But the it all stands to reason, right? And I think there's places where people could go and could talk with an expert, something like Cashflow Mike as an expert, and learn a bunch of really important stuff that's jargon free, gets straight to the point, and can help you run your business.
You know, one of the things that I like about working with business owners is that they talk the language of business. They don't talk the language of finance. They don't talk the language of CPAs. They don't talk investment banking. They talk about, here's what I do on a daily basis. Help me translate it into dollars. And that's what I do at Cashflow Mike, is I've built programs that not only help you understand the connection, right? And have I ever told you about how I learned math being a state trooper?
Yeah, I think you mentioned accidents. I actually remember that one because it sounded kind of interesting. Yeah.
That is the premise on the way I think through business problems. I'm like going, I didn't understand math until I was a state trooper, where I could see the evidence on the roadway. Well, the evidence on the roadway in your business are the things that you do, how long it takes to do something, how how much time you invest in this or money you invest in that, or how much inventory is on the shelf. That's evidence on the roadway. What I teach you to do is look at that evidence and convert it to dollars, so you know how to make the right decision to keep more of those dollars in your pocket. So if you're interested in learn more about that, go to cashflowmike.com. Check out my memberships, because I've got coaching, I've got live or video courses that you can learn at your own pace, and I have an app that does all the math for you and tells you what to do next. So if you're struggling, if you're in trouble, if your business feels clunky, like it's not working right, contact me. Go to cashflowmike.com, get my free course on how to evaluate financial statements in 7 minutes or less, and use the contact me form. Contact me specifically. I will get on the phone with you, and we will actually work through your problem. I'm Cashflow Mike. Good setup, man. Good setup. That was a good setup.
That wasn't my best one, but it probably was
bad.
I've had mostly shitty ones.
I knew it was coming, though. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, because he's going to be looking up at the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to sneak this one in.
Hey, by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, what the hell just happened? That's our mid-roll sponsor, and that could be you, right? We could be spending the time talking about your business instead of my business or Blaine's business. We could be talking about your business, and we've done it for many companies over the last 5 seasons. You could be next. Contact us on mikeandblaine.com, and we will teach you how to actually be effective in using our platform to get more business for yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome to the podcast. Yeah. So, all right. So, have you ever had a cash cow? I know you talk about purple cow all the time, right? You're Groden. What's the guy's name? That
I don't
wrote
even
the
know who
purple
came
cow.
up with that. I just remember the concept of the purple cow. So, and for anyone now we have to talk about it a little bit. The purple cow philosophy or strategy, I guess it'd be more of a strategy, is the idea that if you drive by an entire herd of, black and white Jersey cows, and then there's a purple one, you notice a purple one. So in business, be the purple cow and stand out. So, but cash cow is a little different. Like, cash cow is, I guess you've got, maybe that one channel or that one customer, that one they can always go to. It just keeps bringing you dollars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we usually think, if you're just a regular person, not a farmer, you think about a cow as a source of milk. You think about it as a source of a meal, all these things that you use it for, from hamburger to steak to milk to cheese to whatever it is. But to somebody, the farmer, it's a cash cow, because all of that milk, all of that, all those things. And the last thing you want to do is have to get rid of the cow, because it keeps generating. Every gallon of milk that comes out of this cow generates more cheese, generates more, dairy products, and continues to provide that family with cash. So that's where cash cow, people would buy the cow for an investment, not for nourishment initially. Yeah. Right. That's what the cash cow was. Hey, we need a cash cow around here. So
I got to be honest with you. As soon as you start mentioning all of that stuff, my brain cannot stop from going, you could constantly have milk and you could make cheese. And I'm starting to go cost versus, like, what are my expenses? Because I have to feed the cow. I have to house the cow. I have to keep that. I got to keep, I'm only getting this much milk. How much milk does it take to make the cheese? What can I retail the cheese for? Do I have a profit margin? It's like, literally with a cash cow, all I'm looking at is you actually have to calculate all of that compared to the price of basically butchering it and piecing it out and using that revenue to buy maybe 2 cows, or, so there's a lot goes into it, right?
Yeah, think about the economics of that. This is well beyond any of the businesses that you and I know about now. This is the basics of humanity, just having a cow, or a couple of beans from the beanstalk. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's one of those things where this was the basics of economics. Is it worth it to butcher the cow or continue to live off the cow's nourishment, or what it provides?
Yeah. And someone probably thought, well, just butcher part of the cow. Probably found out that didn't work.
Hey,
He's like, no, now you're all in.
Did you ever go the extra mile?
Oh, gone the extra kilometer.
I don't know.
No, it's okay. It's fun. I'm just thinking about that. But even in Canada, like, it's the extra mile. No one's ever said go the extra kilometer, and no one ever will, except for me making fun of it. But again, it's these things, when you say something like that, it's like, I'm going to give an extra effort, does not have the same charm and story of I'm going to go the extra mile. You just like, I can picture the extra mile. Like it's got some drama to it. And so maybe that's why some of these are so popular. It got a little drama to it.
Yeah, but where'd it come from?
I don't know.
All right. So
no idea.
During Caesar, during the Roman conquest, every Roman soldier could require a citizen to carry their equipment for 1 mile. Right? And then the citizen could volunteer to go the extra mile for goodwill, for reward, for a little bit of relief from whatever was being put on them and their family. Going the extra mile was a voluntary thing. Going the first mile was required. Going the extra mile was voluntary.
It's amazing how long some of these phrases stick around. Like, and how could someone in Canada or the United States be using that phrase today? It's probably been used about 40,000 times today.
Yeah.
And it's based on like Rome in what would be like 3 or 3 BC or something.
Wasn't it like 26 miles is a marathon, and that came from Rome as well? It was like it was from Athens to Greece or whatever was the marathon.
I've never heard that before in my life. That's really interesting. I did not know that.
Oh, well, maybe I made it up.
For those
I don't know.
I want to double check Mike on all of this, because it's probably like 90% bullshit. But.
Hey, 84% of all statistics are made up. You already know that.
84% of 90% of statistics are.
Hey, that brings me to ballpark figure. Say, hey, give me a ballpark figure. You know what that means?
No, but I'm guessing it's baseball.
It is baseball. It's people where they would try to estimate early on in the early 1900s. They would try to guess about how many people were there during a baseball game. And they go, hey, give me a ballpark figure. And it came from how many people were in the baseball stadium at that point in time, because there wasn't like tickets and stuff that they tracked like we do today. So there's no like big count. Like, oh, just give me a ballpark figure of what we got. Is that crazy?
A little bit of BS here. A little bit of BS, because I watched a video the other day, and you'll find it interesting. There's a guy testing baseball bats, and it's one of these YouTube guys that I think must be really well known for bats and probably an ex-ball player. And they were talking about a couple of different ways you can make bats illegal. And one of them was they almost harden the bat. And I can't remember, there's a term for it, and they would roll it, and it just sort of does what you would do if you hit the ball. And they did some tests and said, I don't think it made a difference. The other one, though, is they had college bats. So they were aluminum. And they opened the front of the bat. They took some kind of ring that's in the bat out, and then they actually ground inside the bat to make the wall thinner, and then they put the cap back on, so they have a little bit of weight on the end again. And they tested compared to a regular bat, and it sounded completely different. Instead of that metal ting, it was a thunk, and he was ripping them over the wall.
Where it was smaller or thinner, the wall was thinner.
Yeah, and they ground the inside of it, and I think it got higher bat speed, but then you only got about 10 swings out before the bat broke. But he was crushing these things because they had the bat speed, and then they were measuring the ball speed. And so instead of 102 or 103 miles an hour, he was getting up to 113, 114, 115. And these balls, he was just hammering them over the wall. It was really interesting, actually.
Well, what's interesting is that this year they've introduced that new torpedo bat. And it's, instead of being kind of a bat that extends out and gets wider towards the end, it actually comes out, it's wide in the middle, and then comes back towards the end, right? So it's almost fatter. And they call it the torpedo bat, and they're saying that is actually the thing that's causing a massive increase in home runs and base hits and everything else, because the density of the bat, instead of being heavier and out on the top of the bat, is actually in the middle where the sweet spot is. So it's denser, it's more thick, and all the weight, the center of gravity is right there too. So as you swing the bat and hit the sweet spot of the bat, if you can hit it there, it's hard to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. It actually flies further and faster.
Yeah. I'm going to look that up. Actually, because that stuff intrigues me a lot. That's really interesting, actually. And what I wonder if now, 50 years from now, they'll have a new phrase, something like torpedo that, and it'll be actually related to the bat, not the submarine.
Yeah, that's probably right. But I mean, right now it's because it's shaped like the torpedo, right? Like a missile, rather than a bat. So crazy.
And it's time that we have some new phrases. Like, it's time that we got a fiddle hopper in the groove, and it's a phrase that people start using that started on the Mike and Blaine show.
I think fiddle hoppers one, right? It's like let's replace whatchamacallit with fiddle hopper.
Oh yeah, it's way better than whatchamacallit.
Yeah. And thingamajig. Nobody wants to do it.
It was way better.
That sounds like your grandpa's grandpa said that.
Yeah.
Thingamajig.
Now thingamabob.
Oh, that's Canadian.
Still not as good. Still not as good.
Yeah, that's Canadian too. It's jig versus bob. It's U.S. versus Canada. Still things.
Is it really?
I don't know. I made that up. Maybe it is. We should ask Chelsea that. Right. So
it goes back to it probably goes back to Bob and Doug McKenzie from Strange Brew. It's the thingamabob, maybe. I don't know.
The Great North. What was it called? The Great Northwest?
Great White North.
Great White North. There it is. Great White North. So
I won't sing the song.
Welcome to the. It's almost welcome to the podcast. It's almost the same one.
We should actually ask her. Okay, I might do that after. I might see if I can get a new, just an alternate little song, our jingle, but to the Bob and Doug song, and see if they can do a little.
It's really close now to think about it. I'm like, holy shit, that's really close. Welcome to the Great White North. Oh, I guess not.
Well,
you know it more than me. Yeah, I don't know.
That's just part of it. Welcome to the Great White North. Welcome to Be the Way to Go. Yeah, actually, I do know the song. I don't know how. How would I know that song? That show was probably for 50 years ago, but I know this. I know the song.
80s. It's still the 1900s.
40.
Yeah. 90s?
Going
80s.
way back.
Got to be the 80s, right?
I think.
So, hey, speaking of another one it's way back when. Last one, I swear. Maybe not the last one, but the next one I'm going to do. Deadline. Hey, we have a deadline.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
You go past the line, you're dead. I have no idea where it would come from. But
oh, my God. That's exactly what it is. Dude, that's exactly what it is. Meaning that during the American Civil War, when they put people in internments or prison camps, prisoner of war camps, they didn't have walls. It ain't like now where we can have alligator Alcatraz and just put up walls in a week. They just actually drew a line and says, if you go past this line, you're dead. That was a deadline. I mean, we can't go past that. And over the time, business has adopted that as a timeline, as a time limit.
Did you ever wonder, because I've always wondered that, why when you see like pictures of the American Civil War and you would see them just line up in a line, it's like Red Rover, line up in a line, and then they shoot at each other, and you just think, did no one ever think to just lie down behind a log?
Yeah, they did. It's called Rogers Rangers. That's how the Americans won the Civil War, right? Rogers Rangers did the Indian style guerrilla warfare where they went out and around and flanked and hid and did different type of infiltrations. Yeah, it's exactly why. I mean, George Washington and that crew says, "Hey, listen, that's how the British fight. We're going to show them that, but we're also going to do this other stuff."
Did it not seem weird? Like would the British general the first time go, "Geez, guys, maybe you should duck"? It just seems really strange that was their strategy to stand there and hope you don't get hit.
Well, what's strange to me is that prior to munitions, they didn't do that. I mean, I guess the Romans did. They had a line, right? There was a line. The Vikings did it. There was just a line of people. The archers were in the back. There was always some type of have to hold the line. Yet another, I have to hold the line, meaning that we're trying to advance. We're trying to get through. You can't get through because this is my line. So there's something about that. And it still happens with the offense and the defense in today's military. If I'm going to advance forward, I have to control ground. The only way to win a war is to control ground. The only way to control ground is physically be there. You can't do it. You can control the air. It doesn't make you control the ground. Mm-hmm. Right. And back then, there's nobody doing that.
When it was a time where it's like a wall of shields, and I know there's arrows coming, but there's a wall of shields. And then it got to the point where you don't have shields. Just stand there and hope you don't take a musket to the melon. It just seemed weird to me that they didn't come up with a better plan sooner.
It was weird, right? Because, you get rid of the shield, and they must have thought nobody else has these muskets. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But prior to muskets, people would just advance. Think about it. I think people stopped advancing when the munitions came. You're like, hey, if we go too fast, they can get us way back here. We have to run a long way, and they can get us the whole time we're going there.
You kind of wonder if they would have hey, we could win the Civil War. We could win the war with this new technology called a shield. And actually just come up with a shield that stopped a musket ball.
Yeah.
Because I think those, don't imagine those are going 2,000 miles an hour or anything.
No, but I mean, let's go back to the Vikings. They just had what? Swords? Was that it? Did they even have shields? Maybe a little bit of a shield? But everything they did was close.
Thor, he had a little shield.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think the farther munitions could go changed the way that happened. I think when you look at the Civil War, or at least not even Civil War, I'm talking about like the Revolution, right? Us against the British, that has to be a munitions thing. It's so new that finally you hey, we have to kind of stay kind of back, but if we all stay together, nobody can get through us or around us or whatever. We're creating at least a line nobody can get through. I don't know.
Two interesting facts about headwear that I've heard recently. One is the Vikings didn't wear those helmets with the horns out. They just had helmets. That came from, I think, an opera, and somebody was just trying to make it look neat.
Yeah.
But that was actually not anything to do with Vikings. The other one, this one blew my mind. I just read this a couple of weeks ago. The cowboy hat that we see today was actually based on a movie. That before the movie, I imagine it was one of these movies that was a spaghetti Western or something like that. Before that time, in reality, cowboys and people during that time, they basically all had hats, but a lot of them wore like bowler hats and all different styles of hats. And they said that it was a film producer that was trying to make it clear in the film who was a cowboy. And so they made him wear the same kind of hat, which is the Stetson 10-gallon hat, or I don't know if it was the 10-gallon, but it's basically a Stetson that everyone calls a cowboy hat today. That wasn't actually what people wore at that time. They wore all kinds of different hats.
Interesting, right? Yeah. It's super weird because, because you think of that and I'm like going, why is it shaped like that? And I always think it's to move water back in a way out of the front, right? So I always think that's kind of what it is, keep them kind of dry, but if there's water that comes on, it goes back. But
I actually think it was just a style thing and probably would cover up a bit more of your head in that from the sun. But then to think that there were cowboys out there that wore bowler hats, that's kind of
and I think that's probably what happened with the bowler hats. They're like, hey, this is hot out here. It's not New York. I mean, I need a little bit more shade, right? And they just kept make it out. And then maybe during, weather, they started to curl the edges. When you start going out and how things get wet, this starts to curl up just a little bit. Maybe that's the origination of the shape. At least the thought of the shape. Somebody thought it looked cool.
It could be, but it's interesting to think that that what we think of a cowboy hat today maybe wasn't even the most common hat. It may have been, a top hat maybe have been what most people wore. Like, who knows? It was it was a type of hat.
What do you think is the most common hat today?
Oh, well, a baseball cap, probably a trucker
cap. It's got to be, right? I think even for Texans, even probably the Cowboys out there are probably wearing baseball caps sometimes.
And I don't like baseball. I wear baseball caps sometimes, but I don't think they look very good on me. And then because I'm bald, I want to cover more up.
My grandma told me they make your hair fall out. That's why I was balding. She goes, "You wear two hats too much."
If you wear, because people wear them like that, and it gets the line right here, or if they wear them too high up or whatever. The hats I wear the most now are actually they're two Stetsons, but they're not cowboy hats. But I like the extra brim because it covers like my ears and a bit of my back of my neck up from the sun, and it just covers things up a little bit more, keeps it warm. Like with no hair, you don't have to feel this. With no hair, you're either sunburning and hot or freezing, and there's virtually nothing in between.
Well, I'm a hair model.
I know.
I mean, I can
you should never wear a hat.
I try not to wear as many hats. I used to wear it all the time, but I'm gonna tell you what. I still think my skin, because I can see freckles starting to become more populated on my body. I'm like, I've definitely got to keep I even wear t-shirts like in the pool now and out in the sun. So I'm like, I don't need to look cool. I don't have a six pack anyway. I just don't want to burn up.
I got sunscreen on right now because I went for a walk this morning. I don't leave I don't leave the house without sunscreen because it's too hard on you. Before we start season 6, you should grow that hair just down to there.
I did during COVID. I had long hair because Courtney likes it when it flips out underneath the baseball cap and you got those little curls and all that come out. And I got curly hair, believe it or not. As it grows out, it gets really curly and wavy.
Oh man, you should grow it like down past your hair, down past the shoulders.
Because everybody wants to take cash flow advice from that guy.
Okay, that's probably got a point actually.
That's what I was told. But anyway, 201 is in the books. All right, 201's in the books. We're going to do 2 live this week. Mm-hmm. 2 live. Right. So this is a Tuesday. So if people are like, what the hell's going on? Why is it Tuesday? We're going to catch you back on Thursday. We're going to do it again on Thursday because Blaine's going to go out of town next week, take a little holiday himself, and then we'll catch back up afterwards. Plus, I'm going to Memphis next week. Right. So I mean, big week for both of us next week. So no problem.
So we will post. I'll post something. I'll schedule it. So a non-live one will come out this Thursday. A non-live will come out. No. We're going to film live, but then it'll be a live, the non-live next Thursday. And then the following week, we should be able to pick it back up. And at some point, we'll probably do 2 so we can catch up a little bit. But yeah, so if you're around, you check us out on Thursday. We're going to be chatting again, and it's just a perfect time to come and listen and relax. It's funny, even you can tell even for us, it feels a bit summerish. By the time we get to September, the topics are going to start getting a little more energy and a little more of that, like, holy shit, where now it's summer, but it should be. That's how it should, relax a little bit.
There you go. Hey, 201 in the books. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you want to buy us a beer, be a sponsor, go to mikeandblaine.com. Make sure to go to YouTube, like, subscribe, engage, comment. Just because the 200 super PAC is gone doesn't mean you shouldn't engage.
Yeah. Comment, like, subscribe, everything. We'd love to hear from you.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.